Hello, everybody. This is Ron LeGrand, and thank you for tuning in to our webinar today. And as you can see, the title is 11 Reasons Why Many Never Reach Their Income Potential. We're going to discuss some things that I've discovered after a few years of teaching, why people don't reach their potential. And I've been at this a long time, and I'm always disturbed when people come in to get trained and they don't do anything with the training, and the year goes by and nothing has been accomplished, and yet I see other people go out there and just go gangbusters and make a ton of money and live life to its fullest and get excited. So I'm going to use this webinar tonight to discuss the problems and hopefully some of the solutions, I hope. And I'm going to have several of my mentors on this call, the folks that we have are students turned teachers now that are mentoring other folks. And you're going to hear some of their success stories from their students as well. When this webinar is finished, we'll be talking to you about our new mentoring program and how we can just literally ensure you succeed. I'm going to give you a chance to apply for it this evening. There will be no one asking you for money tonight. We're just going to give you a choice as to whether you really want to get your real estate career moving or not, and give you a lot of options to do that. The call tonight is dedicated to those who feel like that they want to do real estate. You're probably already started and or thinking about getting started, and I am sure that we have some folks on this call tonight that are well on their way but know that they could do better if they had a little guidance and or had a little direction to do some of the things differently than they've been doing. We are in a recession. We are in the best time that I've ever seen to make money in real estate. I see an awful lot of people out there getting very rich very quickly, and I see opportunity everywhere I go, and I go quite a few places. As you well know, I travel the country. So we've got people on the webinar tonight from all walks of life, from all professions, from all industries, some professionals, some blue-collar workers, some not working at all, and some wishing they had a job or a replacement for their job. So we've got them from all parts of the country as well, from the East Coast to the West Coast. So we've got a very diverse audience tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I will be interviewing our mentors as we go along. I think I've got 4 couples on the web tonight. You guys are going to be excited to hear from them as well. They're all actually students who have turned into teachers, all doing well in their own business, and fortunately are able to pass what they know along to the others. So here we go. There are several reasons why I see people fail, and of course one of the biggest ones is fear of the unknown. And it's not difficult for me to understand why people would fear the unknown, because if you can't see the other end of the tunnel, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's very difficult to convince yourself to go into the tunnel. I would be the first to confess to anyone that there is a learning curve that you have to go through to become a real estate entrepreneur and prosper from it. However, that learning curve is nowhere near as large as most people think it is, and can get started and prosper faster than they give themselves credit for in the beginning. Fear of the unknown can only be fixed if you actually do things to overcome that fear, and this is all about taking one teeny-weeny little step at a time so that we don't get so bogged down in the process that we get more fear than we had when we started.
And Ron, you've always said to us and all the students that do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. So you got to get out and start doing it and take an action, and that's what overcomes that fear.
That is correct. You are hearing from Brian and Lynette Wolf, who hail from the Phoenix area. So Brian, while you're there, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your and Lynette's real estate business looks like out there in Phoenix right now?
Well, we've been avid students of yours for a long time, as you know, Ron, and have had fabulous results, basically following the programs that have been discovered by you and other people in your organization, and just applying them, taking what we had learned and getting out there and taking action. And the best person I know who takes a lot of action is my lovely wife, Lynette. Say hi, honey.
Hi there. Hey. And, I'm sure you know that we run an office out here. We average 6 to 8 deals a month. We've closed over $85 million in real estate transactions. And between Brian and myself, we have over 30 years combined real estate and mortgage experience. So when we met you, Ron, I fell in love.
Hey, you fell in love with me first, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But I'll tell you what, guys, we were both real estate agents. I was in the mortgage field for a long time. Lynette also sold new homes. And when we got into the real estate investing, we kind of toyed with it on the side, and we knew all the terminology and all that stuff. So we sort of had overcome part of our fear, but then we didn't realize when we got into the investing that takes a little bit different skill set. And so we picked that up from Ron very quickly, but there was definitely a fear going on in the beginning, and that's what we want to help you guys overcome. And we're going to talk to you guys about how you can actually work with us on a real one-on-one type of basis where we can help you succeed and achieve your goals.
Thank you, folks. Are the Donners on the phone yet?
Yes. Can you hear me, Ron?
I can. Lisa?
Okay, good.
Is Rick there with you?
Yes, actually, he just stepped out momentarily, but yes, he is here.
All right.
I'm here.
All right. Well, first, I want everybody to know that Rick is a CPA, and for God's sake, if a CPA can do this business, anybody can do it. But, Rick, I want you to confess to the rest of the audience listening tonight that it takes a while. Since you're a CPA, everything has to move in slow motion. Is that correct?
Not quite that bad, but sometimes.
But you are affected with the thinker brain mentality?
Well, I think I'm getting better.
All right.
He doesn't want to admit it, but yes, he is more of a thinker brain.
Okay, and where do you guys live?
We live in Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay, and how's the market in Fort Myers, Florida?
Well, it depends on who you talk to. If you want to talk to the rest of the world, they'll tell you how terrible it is and how many foreclosures we have and all that stuff. But if you talk to an investor that's doing stuff, they'll tell you this is a wonderful time to be in the real estate market. Florida is on sale at bargain prices.
Especially our area.
All right. Do I have the Ionatis on here? Do I have the McNeils on here? All right. Maybe they will be joining us here. Okay, well, let me move on. Now, guys, if you want to insert your thoughts anywhere you want to along the line, just feel free to do so. I'm just going to move on, and then I'll come back to you here in a little while, okay?
Great.
All right. The second reason why people never reach their income potential is they do the wrong things and they get lousy results. And, boy, I will tell you that I get a lot of that. Everywhere I go, I'm working with people on what they are doing and what they're not doing, and only to find out that they are busy but they're not accomplishing anything because they're doing the wrong stuff. In the world of real estate, there's only a handful of things that you have to do. And one of those is we have to locate prospects. And once we get those prospects located, which are pretty easy to do, when you're sending out yellow letters and a few of the other things. I mean, my goodness, anybody could buy a property out of the MLS system nowadays.
Yep.
America's on sale. There's bargains galore in there, and I can't imagine why everybody's not working the MLS system right now. But if you are even working the MLS system and you're doing the wrong things because you don't know the difference between a suspect and a prospect, I could see why it can very easily lead to an effort in futility where you're making offers that are not getting accepted because you're picking on the wrong prospects or you're trying to get realtors to do the things that they're just not going to do. And if you're mailing out yellow letters and you're getting people to call you, and if you're mailing them, you are getting them to call you, I can see why you're trying to make a deal where there is no deal, and you're trying to get people who aren't motivated enough, or even you're trying to work on deals where there's no way you can make a deal out of it, even though they'll gladly give you the house. All of these things are normal things when you start in business. They are things that you learn to overcome only by first learning what to do, what not to do, and then gradually get acclimated to the process of pre-screening so that you don't have to deal with those issues anymore. I know I had to do the same thing. I know the Donners had to do the same thing. I know the Wolfs had to do the same thing. So it's a matter of doing the right things. And when you have somebody working with you on a daily basis, like we're proposing that you consider here tonight, they can keep you focused on doing only the right things and not the wrong things, so that you only have one step to do at a time. Any comment on that, Lisa?
I agree. You definitely have to focus on the stuff that are important. You can really get bogged down with all the busy work, and that's just time-consuming stuff that makes you think you're doing stuff, but nothing's getting accomplished.
Easy to be busy, isn't it?
Very easy.
A little more difficult to do productive things that lead to achievable and realistic results.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right,
and
Ron,
delegate. That's your big thing, and you're so right. That took me a while to get. There's a lot of stuff that you don't need to be doing. You know, other people can do that. Work on the stuff that's really important, the stuff that makes money, the stuff that uses your creative brain. You're finding the deals. That's what you need to be focusing on.
Pretty much most of the stuff that most people do, they don't need to be doing. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Ron, you mentioned pre-screening too, and many of the people on the call may have seen us do the live seller calls, and a lot of times we'll get a big stack of leads right before we have to go up there, and that can be massively time-consuming. The great thing is, if you're working with a mentor, you can send us all your leads, and we can help you very quickly understand what constitutes a deal, what's worth pursuing and what's not, because that's where people start spinning their tires and get frustrated. They're not talking to the right leads. They're not pre-screening properly, and that's a very easy process to learn once you start doing it with someone who's done it for a long, long time.
Well, now that you brought that up, not only can they send you the leads, we're actually going to insist on it. So I'm going to tell you right now, folks, that if you decide to work with us on our program, we are going to make sure that you go out and generate prospects, because we're going to ask you to send them to us so that we can pre-screen them with you and get on telephone with the sellers if we need to, and literally force that process along. Because I'll tell you that one of the big mistakes that I see people making is that they can go generate the leads. They can get the leads. They can even determine what's a deal and a dud, pre-screening them. They learn that very quickly, but then they're afraid to pull the trigger.
Right.
And if
Afraid of the phone.
Afraid of the phone, or afraid to actually move it forward when it's so close that it could get accepted. And I'll bet you that I've got folks on the webinar right now that would agree that that is their big problem that they need to get over. And if it's not that one, it's number 3, procrastination. Why on earth would I want to do something now that I could put off till tomorrow?
That's right.
I'm a big procrastinator myself. That's why I like the seminar business. I have my sense of urgency built right in, and I don't have a choice. Just like this webinar tonight, I actually had to get prepared for this thing because it was coming whether I was ready or not. In the real estate business, I kind of like to create my own self-imposed deadlines, and always have, actually. I know that I can put things off, but sometimes I'll create a deadline and I will announce that deadline to anyone and everyone that I can, just so that the deadline becomes public, and I put myself under pressure. And in the case of when you're working with mentors, you don't need to worry about procrastination, because they're going to hold you accountable on a weekly basis to make sure that you actually got your lesson assignment done from the last week and can prove it to them, and then clearly know what your next assignment is, so that step by step you go through the process, and procrastination is not a problem. I will tell you that if you don't have someone holding you accountable, then it's you holding yourself accountable, and procrastination is always a problem. So we can easily help you fix that one.
Agreed.
Number 4, can't seem to make the time. I'll bet you there's nobody on this webinar tonight that has more to do than me. And I really don't even want to take the time to challenge you on that if you want to, but I will tell you that I am constantly busy from the time I get up to the time I go to bed. I work a minimum of 12 hours per day, every day. Not all of those hours are in the office, but I am always working. I mean, look what I'm doing here tonight on this webinar. And I have the same amount of hours in every single day as everyone on this webinar, and everyone alive, in fact. The richest man and the poorest man has the same amount of hours. So really what it comes down to is everyone can make the time. It's just whether they think it's worth their time and whether that time will be productive or not. So what we want to do is get you focused on doing the right things, knowing that it only takes a little bit of time and frankly, there's only a handful of those right things that you should be doing to use your time wisely to get the bigger results. And I will also tell you that the busier one is, generally, the more successful they are, because they're forced to use the little time they have and do the right things because they don't have a lot of time to waste. And I'll also tell you that some people come into our world and they think that if they quit their job, that it's going to help them make a lot of money. When the reality of it is, if you can't do this part-time, you won't do it full-time either, because it's not about time. It's about doing a few of the right things that take very little of your time. Now, guys, I always make the statement that if you're spending more than 5 hours in any given week doing real estate, that you're wasting every moment thereafter. And I will confess that that sounds almost unbelievable, because everyone is not automated as I am, and they don't have the delegation habits that I have. So I want you to tell our listening audience, and I want you to tell them the truth, good, bad, or ugly. We'll start with the Donners.
Of course.
when you're running, in fact, Lisa, why don't you tell us what your real estate business looks like right now?
Mostly we buy REOs. They're stuff to me, it's like finding gold on the ground, just laying there ready to be picked up.
Yep.
You don't have to market for them. It's very simple. When you work with a real estate agent, they'll do all the work for you. You give them the parameters of what you want, and they will find that for you, and then you just put your offers in and wait for them to be accepted, moving on as it goes.
Do you constantly have several offers in?
Yes.
As
yes,
I do.
Because with just like the short sales and the REOs, not every offer is going to be accepted. I don't know why the bank chooses one over the other. It doesn't seem to have a whole lot of rhyme or reason sometimes.
Yep.
That's
you just
exactly
have to
right. Not fall in love with them. Just pick them. In fact, to be honest with you, we don't look at anything. I get the list. It shows a picture of what the property looks like based on the little bit of information that it tells me on the property. I know that maybe there's no damage other than what I expect there to be. In other words, there's not holes and things like that in the wall or anything like that. So then what will happen is I'll place the bid without looking at the property. I never look at it. You'll spin your wheels running out there looking at all this stuff you're not even going to get.
Me either.
Ron taught us that a long time ago, when you always wanted to go looking at stuff that you never had any intentions of buying. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And fess up, how long did it take you to actually stop doing it?
Oh, geez. In the beginning, we had to look at everything. We just had to look at everything. And then after a while, when you realized you weren't getting it, it stopped. But it took us months before we stopped looking at everything. Now, when it comes to the REO stuff that we buy, I don't, Rick runs his business. He's a CPA. He runs his business full time. And even now, he's still slammed. So I take the bulk of the real estate stuff. So basically what happens is, once I know the bank is going to play, they've said something to the effect of, okay, yeah, we like your offer, then I'll go run out to the bank. I'll go run out and look at the property. My realtor just gives me the code. I don't want to see it with him because he doesn't know what I want. I know what I want. And I go out there and I take a look at it, and as long as the pricing, what damage I expected it to have falls in what I expect it to be, we'll buy it at that price. But remember, it doesn't really matter. You can always negotiate with the bank. Twice we've come back and said, no, more damage than expected, the price is lower. And they've taken it.
Yeah.
So, I think, we talked about, we bought a duplex, brand new duplex, not quite finished. We paid a whopping $15,000 for a 2,500 square foot duplex. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage on each side. Under air on each side is about 1,100 square feet, 1,200 square feet, plus the garages. And, when we had it at a higher price, and when I went back out to that and renegotiated with the bank and said, nope, I'm not paying that much money. And then, the funny part about it was when I said, no, we'll pay $15,000. I'll take care of your problems, but we'll pay $15,000. And the bank came back the next day and said yes, and I knew then I paid too much.
No, you didn't.
I
by the
did.
way,
I knew I should have. Well, I got a great deal, but I knew
yeah.
then. You popped right in my head. I knew then that I could have probably said 10 grand and gotten it for 10.
Oh, you did just fine. Quit your whining.
I was happy. I'm not complaining. Complaining. I got a great deal.
So back to the question now, about how many hours would you say that you put into your real estate business per week?
Well, if Rick's listening, it's a whole bunch. But if he's not listening, it's only actually in reality. Oh, boy, I'll bet I spend about, I'm probably spending about nine hours. And that would be, part of it's because we've got one we're doing that we rehab. So there's issues with that one. So it's taking a little longer.
So you're spending about 9 hours. About how many deals are you doing a month? 1, 2, 3?
Well, we've got, let's see, I think we've got 3 in the works this month.
Okay. Well, very
so far.
good. What would you say your average profit per deal is?
Most of the stuff we're buying is multifamily, and we're keeping it. So we get 10 grand up front. We get private money. We put private money on it. We have that money to close it. We figure a 10 grand profit over and above everything that it costs. We're holding this stuff because it's multifamily, and I just know that it's going to go up. They cash flow about $300 to $400 a month, depending upon which one you're talking about. And we expect, because we're getting them at about $50,000, these are duplexes that sold for $300,000 that we're purchasing now for $50,000.
It's unreal, isn't it? I mean, it's just unbelievable. The prices
absolutely unbelievable. We have one that we paid 15 cents on the dollar that the last owner had paid for it. 15 cents on his dollar.
Yeah.
The bank
on one
had
hand,
loaned
it's sad.
100, and we paid 40.
I mean, it's really a great time to be in the marketplace.
So we're holding them because as long as we get 10 grand up front, we get cash flow during the carry, and we expect to be able to sell these in a few years. And truthfully, we like the 100,000 group that you like to be in. We like to get 100 grand on each of our deals, and so once we know that they're going to hit 100 grand in profit, we'll sell them.
Say that again. 100 grand on each property.
Yep.
Oh, we'll sell them for 150 to 180.
Yep.
Range when they get back there.
So we'll sell them for 150 to 180. They should still cash flow to the end investor that we buy it from, and we'll end up with $100,000 plus we made money during the hold.
Lisa, if I were your mentoring client, you think you could help me get some private money when I run across deals like that with your guys?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We do some talks here locally on private money, and have talked for the Entrust group here. That's the IRA group. They've asked us to do a webinar on how to raise private money, and a couple of RIA groups, et cetera, have asked us how we're raising private money, and so we've talked about it.
All right,
I can help you.
Can I move over to the Wolves now?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right. Wolves?
Hi.
All right. About how many hours per week would you say you put into your real estate business?
I would say we average, now remember you came out to our office in Arizona. We've got like 5 full-time assistants so that we can put our business on autopilot. We probably average about 6 hours a week, don't you think, Kenny?
Yeah, and it depends, too, on how many properties, and you know this, too, Lisa, is how many properties you're holding, how many you're quick turning. That's going to play into it a little bit. But we try to put everything as much as possible on autopilot and have our assistants working on things. And then it is like what you said. What's your famous saying, Ron? The less I do, the more I make. And the more you can delegate, obviously the less amount of time you're going to spend on this. But anybody who's listening to the call, if you can just, you can easily, when you're starting, if you're doing 1 or 2 deals a month, you're easily going to replace whatever income, mostly that you're making right now. And so you don't even have to get to the point where you're doing 4 or 5 or 8 deals a month to be making a very sizable income. And if you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4 deals a month, Ron is exactly right. That if you're spending if you're spending more than, I'll go a little bit more than 5. I'll say 10 hours.
All right, I'll give you 10.
In the beginning, you're still getting your beak wet on a few things and lining up your dream team and getting people to know what their duties are for you. And when you're dealing with assistants like we do, you have assistant, you have to talk to them and tell them what to do once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But really, delegation is a real important key. We'd say that as soon as you can do it, at least get one assistant to do a lot of this work for you, and that'll save you a lot of hours.
Of course,
and,
get out there and getting a little cash flow coming in will make that come quicker, won't it?
yes,
That's
absolutely.
right.
Yes.
All right, well, let me then move on, guys. I'm on number 5, and in case you just tuned in, we're talking about 11 reasons why you may never reach your income potential. And number 5 is you don't know what to do first or thereafter. In other words, you don't know that first step, second step, third step. That one's easy because all of the mentors that I have personally handpicked for you to work with, all of which have a servant's heart, I might add, know exactly what to do the first step, the second step, third step, fourth step. And we're only going to ask you to do one step at a time so you can't get lost in the amount of steps and get overwhelmed with the tasks that are before you. Number 6, still believe it takes money or credit. Every time I do a seminar, I ask the crowd, how many of you are just not convinced you can buy real estate without money or credit? And there's always some people who raise their hand. And, of course, the only time you're ever going to be convinced is when you actually do your first deal that doesn't require your money and or your credit. And that is my foundation for my entire teaching system, is I don't want anybody out there using their money and or their credit. I can assure you that the Donners don't use their money and or credit to buy the duplex and others that she just described to me because she's using private money. And I know that I know the Wolfs well enough to know that you're never going to get them to use their money and or their credit. They know better.
Well, we do a lot of pretty houses too, Ron, and that's what really turned me on when we first got into the business. And when you showed us how to do pretty house deals, because we were like a lot of people thinking that rehab is basically, that's where real estate investing is. There's 7 different kinds of deals, and you can do these subject twos, and that involves you can hold a ton of properties and never have a mortgage on your own credit report.
Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
right.
Brian, how many deals are you guys doing a month? Did you say, or did I miss it?
We kind of go up and down because this is obviously it's a up and down thing, but we're going anywhere between about 4 and 8 in a month.
4 and 8 deals a month?
Yeah, and some of them, especially here in Phoenix, when we're getting them low. And Lisa, I like what you were saying about this. Guys, you don't need to flip everything. I mean, quick turning is great, especially if you need some quick cash flow. And I love doing wholesale deals where you flip stuff to a rehabber. And
Right.
guys, once you hook yourself up with a couple of good rehabbers, you'll be able to find these ugly houses and get in and out of them within a couple of weeks, sometimes faster. And we buy and sell some of these ugly houses without ever even going out there.
Absolutely.
Because we just have our rehabber go out there and tell us what he'll pay us. And if it's more than what we paid, bingo, it's a deal. And so we've bought and sold houses where we have never actually driven to the house. And we just have our wholesale buyers going out there. So depending on what kind of deals you're doing, but with the wholesale deals, those can go very, very quickly. So that's what I'd say. But again, we're looking to hold some properties because we know the market's going to bounce back. Getting into a property now, in 3 years, you're going to have a very nice appreciation, especially out here. I feel like, there's still an influx of people moving here. We're going to see, good appreciation. And I think that applies to the entire country, frankly. Right
I
now
agree.
is the time
And I
to
think it's a
grab
matter of making sure your numbers work. If the numbers don't work, pass on the deal, move on to the next one. There is so much out there.
Lisa, you're married to a CPA. How long did it take you to convince yourself that you actually don't need money or credit to buy real estate?
That took a while. That took a while. In fact, part of us getting more into getting private money was Rick had decided to just go ahead and see on one of the properties if, we just can maybe go ahead and get a loan. And he knew it wasn't the right way to do, but he thought, let's see what would happen. And it was such a frustrating process. He finally just said, forget it. And he actually did an e-blast to his database and set out the parameters and got some calls on some people saying, hey, yeah, we'd like to do that. And that's how it started. Mm-hmm. And there's no way we're going to put our own money into the deal. That's dumb. Why would you tie up your money? And when you can borrow private money at a reasonable price and still structure it so that you get like an acquisition fee. So in other words, I could quick flip this property and maybe make $20,000, but I could put a private money person on it and make $10,000 and still get to keep the property. That wins for me.
Okay, and of course, all the subject to deals you're getting, you don't really need the money anyway. So
You don't need money at all for that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I mean, people are just willing to just hand you the stuff over because they don't know what to do.
Are you finding that they're a whole lot more willing this year than they were last year at this time?
Absolutely, you know, because they're just more desperate to get out, move on, whatever. And so the deals are just—it's incredible. It's back to that, you know, this is such an abundant time. I mean, for goodness sakes, you can get out there and do it, and there's no competition because there's too many deals. I wish I could do them all. I can't.
Yeah, me too. I'm in the same situation here. Some days I wish
to buy
I didn't
everything I could get my hands on, but, you know.
Yeah, some days I wish I didn't have anything to do but buy houses.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you I could buy 15 or 20 a week with no problem at all.
I know, they're just there. And there's great deals, and you know, you can flip some on the way, or you can choose to keep some of them. But just as long as you structure the deal to make you money while you're holding them, that's a great thing too. So we do hold some stuff. There's some we'll flip out, but we do hold some. We've got one we're flipping out.
All right. Well, let's move on to number 7 then, and that's listen to the Dream Stealers. My guess is there's a whole lot more people out there telling you that you cannot do this. It's the wrong time. Real estate is bad. Real estate is losing its value. Can't get any money to buy real estate. You went to a what seminar? You know, we've all heard it, and we continue to hear it. And I got to tell you that if you don't have some positive input into your life on a regular basis, which is what you're going to get from these folks on the phone and others, that Dream Stealers are going to be likely to get you. Because there's a whole bunch more of them out there than there are of us trying to move you forward. Nothing more than people.
Ron, that's why we get our mentor students to produce that shut-up check so quickly for all those dream stealers. And sometimes the worst dream stealers are your brother, your mother, and your close friends because they're concerned about you moving up in your echelon.
Well, I don't know about your mother now.
Well, that's true.
My mother always wanted me to make money right up to the day she died. She asked me when I was going to go get a job. But they will come get you. There's no doubt about that. And you're right, Lynette. Getting that first check is critical because once you get that, you know you're in. You're hooked, and you've also got proof. And it does take proof. We have to have social proof to have the Dream Stealers go away, because without that proof, it's just words, and there's no short supply of words out there, and nobody's going to believe anything we tell them until we show them that proof. So we're always focused on trying to get people through that first check, not to mention the fact that a lot of the folks we're working with really need that first check badly. And the truth is, the first thing I want you to do when you get your first check is to, you know, pay for your education. So that from that point on, your education is free for the rest of your life.
Right.
All right, let's go to number 8.
What a great feeling. I'm telling you, there is nothing like looking at a check with all those zeros after it.
You bet. Too many past failures to make room for future successes. I'm sure that you folks are currently dealing with folks that have not had a past that they're really proud of. They've made a lot of mistakes. They've got people on their case. And those failures and mistakes are, frankly, just poisoning their mindset so they can't do a few of the right things today to move the machine forward. So the only way we're going to fix that is a series of small successes. There's no magic wand, but I can tell you that those past failures are not going to get away or go away, and if we don't do something to put a little bit of positive influence back into our lives, like some small successes, and, you know, that's really all we're asking from our folks is just small successes. We already have mentor students who are making a ton of money, and I mean, I talked to one today who's done 8 deals. What do you say this month? Jay said today, 8 deals this month. Is that what he said?
I thought it was 11.
Or 11 deals this month, 11, I mean, when you got students out there like that, that's not the norm, and we don't want to lead anybody to believe it is. We're just trying to get you through that very first check, even if it's a small check, so that you can actually get bitten by the bug and go get a lot more checks, and you won't have time to worry about your past failures.
That's right.
That's right.
Number 9. Afraid you can't sell houses. You guys working with folks who are worried about selling houses?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They're concerned that they can't sell it.
Well, it's an understandable fear in today's market, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Are you having any trouble selling houses?
No.
No.
You got to create that buyer's list first.
Absolutely.
Remember, that's part of your farm area. When you are deciding where you want to buy houses, part of it should be based because that's where you would want, I mean, you're going to sell in that same area. So you're, you know, you'll be sending yellow letters to people you want to buy from, but you would also want to market to the people that want to buy from you in that same area, that want to live there. So
correct. So if you buy houses in areas that are unsellable, you shouldn't be upset because they're not selling, right?
Right.
If you buy houses in areas that are sellable, in the bread and butter blue collar to the white collar neighborhoods, you will not have any trouble selling them if they are ready to sell and you make them easy to buy.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's a process. It's a very easy to learn process, but it's a deadly process if you don't learn it. And I will be the first to confess that if you buy houses and do not understand the process of selling, that you are going to have trouble with it. And the problem that you could have is that your entire business comes to a screeching halt because your product is not moving out as fast as you can move it in. We all know on this line that we can buy all the houses we want. That's not the problem.
Right.
That's right.
We have, you know, we can only move so many through the machine, no matter even how good our selling machine is. So the better we get our selling machine, the more we can buy, the bigger profits we can generate, and the more of those profits every single month. And all of our mentors have learned to move that, work that selling machine and not make it a bottleneck. So we can fix that for you, but I'll tell you there's only way we're going to fix it. One way we're going to fix it, and that is let's get a house bought, and then we'll worry about getting one sold. How's that?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Well, we also talk, anytime you have a house for sale, you're building your buyer's list. And so you're getting a lot of qualified people. You're taking calls. Everybody should be running Craigslist ads and everything. They're free. You can be getting calls. And we have several qualified buyers. There's 4 different kinds of buyers out there, including, like we talked about, wholesale buyers or rehabbers that'll take your uglies. Plus, there's your lease purchase buyers who are looking at your pretties. So you build up a list like that. You have 3, 4, 5 people on that list. You know where they're looking for. You know how much they can afford. You know what they're looking for in terms of features of the house. It's easier to find a house for a buyer than a buyer for a house.
Absolutely.
So you got
that's
buyers
the way to
waiting.
do it.
Yeah, you go hunt down the house for a buyer, and that's the way we do it. I mean, we've sort of flipped our paradigm a little bit. Used to be harder. Used to have more trouble buying, and now it's flipped. And now we've got buyers waiting for houses, so we go out and just find the house that's right for them. And boy, is that a sweet process.
Yeah. So in other words, when you got that buyer's list built up, all you got to do is figure out who to plug the next house you buy into before you even get into the system very far. You're looking for the buyer before your title search even clears now, aren't you?
And they lose out on one of your houses. Someone else takes it. Oh my gosh, are they ready to get your next house? You got to call me the second you get that next house. Yeah. And you're looking in the same area, in the same quality of house, the same price range. And
all
so
the same markets, so you've got that same buyer for the very next house.
Yep, that's right.
So you guys are working your farm areas. You kind of work the same areas over and over again.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to know what the values of it are. It makes it easier to know. I know what's selling around that area. If there's a shift in pricing, I know it because it's all in the same area.
Yeah, right. I agree. Couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I've done that from day one. And some of our listeners tonight they live in cities with 5 million people in them. You cannot possibly handle a city with 5 million people. You've got to pick and choose your target area, which I hope is very, very close to where you live. And then, of course, there's some folks who live in very small towns, so in that case, the entire town is your target area. And the good thing about small towns is you can literally dominate the town very, very quickly and be the go-to person in that city if people want to sell their house and or buy other houses. So, pick your town and be the guy or gal and or pick your target in the larger cities. I live in a city of about 1.2 million, and I can and have bought houses in the entire city, but there is about a quarter of the city that I prefer to work in, and I'm not saying I won't go to the other side of town because I do. However, I can get from one side of my town to the other in approximately 30 minutes. People living in L.A. can't get from their house to the main highway in 30 minutes, so their farm area is going to have to be right around where they live would be my suggestion. Okay, number 10, I've already spent a lot of time and money on training, but I'm not making any money yet. I bet you guys thought about that same thing way back when you were just starting too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or was your training all free?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, right.
No, but you know what? The thing about it is, Rick has said it. He got his high school or a college education, a college degree in order to be a CPA. And he said it didn't come free. I mean, he had to pay in order to better what his lifestyle. He had to pay a lot of money to learn that. Why would we think that this would come free? It's the same kind of thing. The difference is that 1 or 2 deals and it's all paid for. That's it.
You bet.
Here's the other great thing, though, Ron, about this mentoring program is I've seen people buy programs, and I bought programs that ended up in my closet, and I have to admit that I did not apply them. And if I had applied them, I would have made money, but I didn't. Okay, so that's the great thing with the mentoring is if you pay for training, this is the kind of training where you have accountability. So you can't just put it in your closet. You're going to be talking to us every week. We're going to make sure you're using your training. And this is the kind of training that can really result in big money.
Yeah, one-on-one training is always the most successful because you've got someone focused on making sure that you will be successful.
Yeah. Hey, Rick.
Yes.
About what do you think it would cost you to get the license to be a CPA?
What did it, or what would it today?
Well, what would it today?
You got 5 years education in Florida, a couple of years of, well, you don't really need the experience, but you know what's a college? I don't even know. I'm out of touch with it. $100 grand for your education, all the time you put into it. The same time, I'm not saying somebody shouldn't get an education, but I got people who come to me and say, my kid's going to be an accountant. And I say, pray for him, you know.
Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me how we are conditioned in this country to go to years and years and years of school, hawk our souls, go borrow the money, take years to pay it off, so that we can get an education that at the very best will come out and help us make a good living.
Our parents were conditioned that way.
Yeah.
And who conditioned them? I don't know.
That's well, their parents, of course. So, all the way back to Moses.
Right.
So, if you apply a little common sense to this little problem here in number 10, the cost of your education is a whole lot cheaper than ignorance, and you're going to pay the price to get educated one way or the other. It's just the truth is whether you're ever going to get educated or not. So I know that there's a lot of people on this webinar spend a lot of money on real estate training, and I also know that a lot of it did not come from me because, frankly, I'm no different. You should see my truckload of stuff that I bought over the years. In fact, when I moved 5-6 years ago, I threw half of it away. And, I didn't use part of it. I didn't use most of it, in fact. But you take everything that I've spent on my education, and you could pull 1 or 2 ideas out of the entire pile and it would make it way worth whatever it cost me. And I can tell you that I'm a guy who spends approximately $75,000 a year on continuing education right now.
Right.
And
and we come to your courses all the time.
Yeah,
and do we have to? No, but you know what? Every single time we come, we always come away with something new. Every single time.
Well, that's because I'm always coming up with stuff.
And then that's the truth. And so you have to continue to educate yourself. And the education is totally worth it because I can't tell you how many times we come back and went, oh, my gosh, I don't know why I didn't think of that. And it's like an epiphany goes off and you've got to go and something.
Lisa, I'm going to.
The great thing about the money you spend here, though, Ron, I mean, I graduated summa cum laude, and I spent a lot of money on my college, and I'm a real thinker brain. Nobody taught me a thing about making money and going through college. This is training that's designed specifically to help you make money.
That's right. It's not just a training. Yeah. We're going to force you to make money. We're going to beat you upside the head till you make money. We're not going to listen to all your excuses, and nor are we going to accept all your justification for why you should fail.
Right.
So, in fact, we're going to hold you accountable until we see the check. It's really just that simple. All right.
Not just one check. That's not our aim. Our aim is success. So more than one check.
And in fact, I'll let you guys testify to that here in just a second. Number 11. Just can't stay focused long enough to maintain forward progress. God knows I understand that one. Focus is a very difficult thing to focus on nowadays. There is so many millions of messages hitting you every single day. There's always ways to make money. Then there's life, and there's kids, and there's family, and then there's work, and then there's all these things. And then there's the internet, and then there's the cell phone. My God, I don't know how anybody can get anything done in our society today. So, and it's getting worse.
Yes.
So focus is only going to be caused by having a plan and then systematically perfecting each one of those steps to get you to the end of that plan. And that's exactly what we're going to do for you, is make sure that you maintain the focus. And I can assure you that everybody that works with you, all of our mentors, have had focus problems and have overcome them, so they're going to be a great help to you to help you do the same. And if you don't focus in, if you just don't do the few right things you have to do every single week, nothing will happen. But good news is it just doesn't take much focus to do the minimal things that we have to do to buy and sell houses. Any comment on that, guys?
Very true.
No,
Very
that's
true.
totally true.
We get caught up on so much minutia, and it's back again to some of that delegating stuff. And you got to focus on the stuff that makes money and just not think about the other stuff.
You gotta get organized, and once you're organized and you got a couple systems in place, I think it flows a lot better.
Yep, like things like setting up somebody to answer the telephone, which we have on the screen in front of us. We definitely have to initiate the marketing, because if we don't get people calling us with houses for sale and/or we're not contacting sellers, because we're going to do some of both. We discussed earlier about working the MLS system. That means no one calls us. We actually get a hold of realtors.
Yep.
We also should be calling FSBOs. Guys, you haven't been to my Quick Turn Real Estate School here lately, but I can tell you that the first day I have the class go out and call FSBOs, and I am just shocked with the number of deals that we're getting the class to bring right out of the newspaper from wherever they live every single day anymore. There was a time when I actually had to call, 8, 10, 12 people in the newspaper to get anything that smelled like a deal. Today, it seems like half the people that advertise are potential deals sitting there. So there's a gold mine sitting right there in the newspaper and on the classified ads in the internet today. But if we don't get that marketing system initiated, then nothing happens. Step one has not been accomplished. Locating prospects. If we don't fix that one, none of the rest of it matters. So we're going to make sure you crank up your buying machine. We're not going to ask you to. We're going to, first we're going to ask you to, and then we're going to ask you why you haven't, and then we're going to beat on you until you do. And of course, we're going to help you. If you want to send yellow letters, fine. If you don't, fine. As long as you can show us that you are producing at least 20 prospects per month and sharing them with our mentors, I'm going to be happy. But honestly, I think that you should be producing a lot more than that. However, I'm not going to force anybody here to make this a full-time job if they want to make it a part-time job. What we're asking you to do is extremely part-time.
Right.
20 a month. It wouldn't be hard with FSBOs and MLS to do 20 a week. That's very reasonable.
Yes.
But like you said, Ron, we're not going to. We just need to see that activity, that there's leads coming in, and there's a lot of quality leads out there right now.
I mean, my goodness, if you mail a couple of hundred yellow letters, you're going to get 20 leads.
And
So,
if
I mean,
worry
it's not a lot.
Gee, it's going to cost a lot of money to market. There are so many ways to market right now where you can get more leads than you want. Like you said, Ron, I mean, it costs nothing to pick up the FSBO, to run an ad on Craigslist, and go to MLS.
That's right. Free. Those are all free.
Those are all free.
Yep. And it costs nothing to put up your website and drive traffic to it as well.
Yep.
That wants to sell your property. I mean, we've got a whole list of free things if you want to do that.
Yep.
Putting a sign on your vehicle is almost free. So, whatever it takes, whatever you feel comfortable doing based on, what you've learned so far. And there's going to be a weekly one-on-one call where you're going to spend a half an hour on the phone with your mentor. And then, of course, they're available to you when needed on an email and fax basis. And, of course, when you're in the heat of the battle. All of our mentors are very happy to work with you when you're working on a deal and you've got questions and you need answered and you need them answered right away. And I can tell you that I have chosen anybody that I will assign to you because they are available, because their life is in order, because their business is in order, and because they have a servant's heart. And if they don't have those qualities, I wouldn't want anybody working with them. And I can assure you that they all do have those qualities.
And it's more exciting. Honestly, Ron, it's more exciting for us now when we help somebody else do a deal. I mean, we do deals all the time. It's like, it's another deal. But I mean, when you help someone else do their very first deal, I mean, that's what
like
really,
doing your first deal all over again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know it. It was like, wow, yay!
There's tears on the phone, and oh, my life is so. I mean, it gets pretty dramatic, and we just love it.
So what are you saying? Our job is to make people cry?
You
can say that.
Tears of joy.
All right. Okay, working with us will lessen the chance of mistakes, and I know that there's a lot of people that we bring into our program that are so worried about making mistakes that they just won't do anything. So obviously, if that is a problem for you and you're worried about making mistakes, well, first, you might as well get over it because you're definitely going to make some. You're going to make some even with a mentor by your side, but when you make them, they're going to be such small mistakes that they're not going to make any difference. They're just part of learning. Success is a series of executed steps that lead to an end goal. And all we want you to do is take those steps, little teeny baby steps at a time, so that we can get you down the field and through the goal post. None of them are going to require much of your time, and none of them are going to make you very much uncomfortable. There are going to be a few things that we're going to ask you to do that might be a little uncomfortable for you because you've never done them before. But once you get through them the first time, for example, many folks are just petrified to get on the phone and call the seller, and we get that because frankly, most of your mentors were as well when they started. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I had one of our students recently. She just was petrified to get on the phone and talk to the seller. She had a stack. It was a gold mine of all these incredible prospects. And so we did a 3-way conference call, and then she just took off from there. She got her first paycheck, and then next you know, she's got 3 more paychecks right behind it. That's the way it goes.
Yep. And it all starts with getting the big momentum going, doesn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we're going to eat the elephant one bite at a time, so it won't be a big job. You'll never have a big task in front of you at any one time because we've broken this elephant down in little bites, and anyone and everyone that we accept into this program should easily be able to accomplish the little bites that we ask them to do. And our job, of course, is going to try to get you that check as fast as we possibly can. Now, of course, when you get that check, we are going to require that you share that with us, not the money, but a copy of the check. And, of course, if you want to, you can also send your mentors real money. It's up to you. But we are going to require your testimonial. That's one of the things that you're going to agree to if you accept our program and we accept you into it. Our whole objective is to get you your first check and follow it with a bunch more of them as fast as we possibly can. And then when they start arriving, watch that self-esteem go up. In fact, I think one of the big reasons why people need mentoring, a lot of them anyway, is that they have a low self-esteem issue because of not that many successes in their past life. And low self-esteem can easily be fixed, but it will require a series of checks to do it. And I know for a fact that once you start getting a series of checks, your ego is going to rise. In fact, probably going to get to the point to where you're hard to live with, as some of my mentors are. Because I knew these folks when they first got started, and frankly, they're different people now than they were then. But that's okay. That's a good thing. So the program exists to ensure that your well-oiled machine is always moving and remains pointed in the right direction. In fact, just look at us like your GPS, telling you where to turn and when you've taken the wrong turn and it's time to turn around. And look, we got tons and tons of testimonials. I'll tell you what I'd like to do here, guys, if I can. Could you, let's start with the Donners.
Sure.
How many, you are just working with 1 or 2 folks right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, we had the Ionati's. You're not on here, are you?
I don't think so.
Okay, and they never got in. What did they tell us today when we were on the call with them? They had 8 students who have already done deals. Is that what they said?
Yeah, I think it was 8.
8 students?
Yeah.
And actually, they've only been in the program 2 months, the Ionatis themselves. How about you, Lynette? How many students do you currently have?
Me and Brian have 7 students currently. 6 of them are doing deals, and actually 5 of them have already produced at least 1 check, if not more.
In fact, this is one of your folks right here in front of us, isn't it? Brian Reed? Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got Brian Reed right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this was an ugly house seller. He bought the house, and he just did the wholesale buyer, just like you said, taught us to teach. wholesale buyer exit strategy, and those little paychecks. Now Brian's working on acquiring 187 REO properties. And he's moved on to much bigger, better things, and we're helping him out with that right now.
Yeah, I talked to him at an event not too long ago. Imagine that, guys. 187 REO properties, all from the same individual. They're not REOs, actually. Yeah. They haven't been to foreclosure.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And there's 6 banks involved in 187 properties, and Brian's got a chance to buy all 187 of them and do short sales on them. The seller will just give them to him if he wants them. So if he pulls that deal off, are you guys working with him on that deal?
Yes, yes, we are, and we're helping with the funding and everything too. So.
Boy, that one deal could set him up for the rest of his life. Do you know what that one deal could do for him? Makes him a whole bunch of money. And you know what happens when you get a great big bunch of money at one time? From that point on, from then for the rest of your life, everything is different because it just kind of stair steps and explodes from then.
Tracks more money.
And it does. And in fact, what do you think that does to your self-confidence?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, boy, if you had met Brian Reed when we first started mentoring him, it was just unbelievable the personality change that you're talking about, Ron.
Yeah. No, not unbelievable to me. I see it all the time. Yeah. Your progress chart with a mentor, you can make some progress. You'll lose part of it. You make some, you lose some. You make some, you lose some. Our goal is that when you make that progress, you keep that progress so that you get to your end goal a whole lot faster. And I can tell you that someone working by your side is the only way that's going to happen. I will not let anyone of our mentors take more than 15 clients. We have discovered that's the maximum any one of them can handle and still maintain their own life. I don't want them to get bogged down. I don't want this to be a burden on them. I want them to still be fun for them. And I've already discovered that anything over 15 creates a full-time job for them. And frankly, I'm not interested in having our mentors have a full-time job. They've all got plenty to do. So 15 is their max. Lynette, you've got some space, don't you? How many you got?
Yes.
Yeah, we have 7 students currently right now.
Okay, and I know that the Donners have plenty of room because we just brought them on board. So we've got room for...
That's the exciting part. Paul has been... in the program, not the mentoring program. Then he's only been in 2 weeks and he's already got his first deal. But prior to that, he'd been struggling to do a deal for the last 18 months.
Well, that's a good example of what happens when you have a little guidance.
Yep.
Which doesn't shock me at all. All right. Well, the cold hard truth is that if you don't have a mentor, you're going to pay a much higher price than if you do. I really don't think I have to convince anybody of that. We're all grown-ups here, and we understand how important it is to have somebody working with you. And really, I don't want anybody's money tonight. I'm not asking you to spend money tonight. Really, all I want you to do, if you're interested in everything that we discussed, and you truly are at a time in your life where you need some help to get that first check and get it quickly, all I want you to do is put in an application tonight. And if you do get involved with mentoring here, I'm going to throw in one of the 2 bonuses on the board here, and let me describe them here quickly. The Lead Selling Machine is a brand new course that I just taped, and it just came out, in fact, and it's a whole entire system to help you sell the leads that you get from buyers and sellers of your houses and really, truly create an extra $10,000 a month in income by selling off the information we used to throw away. You guys remember when we used to throw away all those leads that we didn't buy houses from?
I can remember you on stage pitching them in the garbage.
Well, we don't do that anymore because there's money in those things. So we sell all that information to other industries and turn it into a cash flow, and it's a consistent cash flow. Once you get it set up, it's just going to keep on churning and burning.
I think it was in Branson we saw you come up with that idea right off the stage of selling the leads.
Mm-hmm.
And
how many years ago was that?
Oh, that's like 3 years ago.
Well, that shows you how slow I am. Because this product just came off the press right here. In fact, there's only a handful of people that even have it.
Yeah, we have it, and we are actively getting it set up. It's about set up. I've got someone calling the vendors as we speak.
Perfect. That means that you can help your students as well.
Absolutely. Good. I'm excited about it. I think this is just
We're doing it a global, Lisa. We're doing it a global.
I think this is a killer idea.
Yeah. All right, and I also just taped a foreclosure boot camp. It's a 2-day event that I just got through with. In fact, the tapes aren't even edited yet. They will be soon. And that is also a $997 value, and that deals with pre-foreclosures and post-foreclosures, the whole gauntlet of foreclosures, and it was an exciting 2-day event. So you can pick either one of those brand new courses you want if you choose to get involved with mentoring, and we accept you. And the website to go to is on your screen. And here's your choices tonight, guys. You can go to ronlegrand.com /11 reasons, and you'll find an application on there. If you fill out the application and submit it within the next 60 minutes, I got another little gift for you. And or you can call the phone number, 800-567-6128, and submit your application by phone if you wish, because if you're like me, I'd much rather answer questions than sit there filling out blanks on the computer. But I'll let you do it either way you want. Now, I will tell you, if you call that number, they're going to ask you for your name and number and then call you back to get the application so that they can handle the folks that are going to be calling here in the next few minutes. So call them if you like. They'll call you right back. They'll take your questionnaire is what it is. Now, it's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to get that questionnaire filled out, so plan on that when they call you back. You've got 60 minutes to either put it online and submit it, and or call and let the 3 folks that are standing by waiting for you right now take your application. And if you do that in the next 60 minutes, I've got another little gift for you that I want to give you, and that is my entire short sale course. My entire short sale course with Ben Parkman and myself. He's the attorney that does short sales. We did an entire day on the whole process of short sales. You will get the entire set of CDs and the manual. And when you call, they'll tell you exactly what you got to do to get those, because they are going to be delivered to you electronically. We're not going to ship them. We're going to show you. We're going to give you the code to go download them. And I just today, you guys will be interested in this. I just today taped a brand new Safe Alternative to the Stock Market CD that I just rewrote, and that's the CD where you literally hand people to let me explain to them why they should lend you money to buy junkers and rehab them. I rewrote it and I retaped it, and I'm going to give you that CD as well to use and duplicate as you see fit. Now, the short sale course and the Safe Alternative CD are yours simply by turning in the application. You do not have to register for the mentoring program to get those 2 bonuses. So I'm going to give you about $550 worth of freebies there just for submitting the application.
That's awesome.
And with absolutely no obligation. Now, you guys need to know that we've got several programs available for you. I am not talking to you about money because I don't know what it's going to cost you. We're going to tailor the program for you. We're going to first find out what your needs are, and then we'll know how long that we want you to put you in. If 6 months would be my first choice for you, because that's where we're getting the best results. We have a shorter program if you wish, but the counselors will talk to you about that when you call them. They are not going to put any pressure on you. They're not there to hard sell you. They're there to find out if you think this is a marriage and if they think you're a marriage. And I'm going to tell you point blank, we're not going to take everybody that applies, because if we don't think this is going to be a benefit to you, we're not going to accept your funds, and we're not going to want to spend 6 months with someone that we don't feel like we can help. And I will also tell you in full disclosure that if you are not willing to follow some simple instructions, this program will not work for you, because if you do not follow simple instructions and you refuse to comply with the instructions that our well-qualified mentors give you, then we are going to remove you from the program long before your term is up. These folks can only work with a handful of people at a time, and we're going to work with those who actually intend to succeed and are not going to do everything they can to defeat the progress. It makes us look bad if you don't succeed, and personally, I don't want to look bad. So our mentors are assigned to make you successful, and certainly they want to do that. So all you got to do is make the conscious decision that you want to go apply, and then work out whatever needs to be worked out. We got tons of financing programs for you. We have extended the term to very small monthly payments. We've lowered the down payment. We're doing everything we can to get folks involved so that we can get you in a position to take advantage of this recession and reap big rewards from it rather than being a slave to it. So with that said, Lisa, Rick, you got any last comments before we adjourn for the day?
I just think you're the best, Ron. We've seen other real estate, teachers, and you got it. You got them all beat, hands down.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
I'll
sir.
give you that.
I'll send you the check. Don't worry.
No, very true. Very true. You know what's what, and you do have a servant's heart yourself, Ron.
Well, you guys are the ones that's going to be doing all the work here. So, I'm very, very proud of the mentors that we've chosen. And incidentally, guys, I forgot to mention that. You've got the Donners on the phone and you got the Wolfs on the phone. They may or may not be the mentors that we assign to you. We will assign folks to you that, A, we think are a personality match, and B, that live as close to you as possible. We would like to, I don't want somebody in California working with somebody in Florida. So we've got them spread out all over the country. We've got California mentors. We got them in Arizona. We got them in Texas. We got them in Florida. We got them in Pennsylvania. We got them all over the place. So we'll assign you the mentor, and if our assigned mentor does not work out for you, you can switch, and we're going to do everything we can to accommodate you. So I don't want to put any more pressure on you. I want to release some pressure from you. So get on the phone right now and call, or go to that website there and fill out your application and get it in there tonight. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. How about the Wolves? Any last parting words?
Well, Ron, obviously you are incredibly brilliant, but this program you came up with is just profound. I mean, it is just phenomenal, and I cannot tell you how many students we have been able to excel in career financially. They're just so much more lucratively off in a better position. But also, I just want to say one quick thing about the program. We will definitely, not only will we hold you accountable, we will motivate you, and we have to report to Ron LeGrand. So let me tell you, reporting to Ron, if we are not getting the reports from you that we need, we will. I mean, let me tell you this. We can be mean at times, right? Right, Brian?
I wouldn't tell them that. I wouldn't tell them that, Lynette. But no, you do report to me every week, just as your clients are going to report to you.
Yes.
And this is a written report.
That's the motivation aspect of it. I mean, we really believe in motivation through praise and also constructive criticism, guys. Lynette's really a fabulous motivator. She's an action brain, and there's nobody better I've ever seen that can motivate you than her. So. And that's true for all of the mentors. So we really just want to get on board with you and help you be successful.
Right. That's the goal, to help you be successful.
All right. Well, thanks very much for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate your contribution tonight. And I know that you do it because it's what you want to do and you enjoy doing it. So I know that our listeners tonight, I think, got a lot out of this call, and I really appreciate all of you tuning in. Hope to get involved with you. Hope to see all of you in the upcoming events real soon. And let's grow together.
Yes,
thank you very much
Ron.
for tuning in.
Ron, we love you, Ron.
Thanks,
Love
Ron.
you too, baby.
All right, hon. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.